Hello, welcome to JIBRIN ANGLE on Oweleke TV. And this is the second segment or second episode to a continuation. There's supposed to be a continuation to the last episode. So we decided to split this into two so that we'll be able to finish up the important topics that we have. All right, we still have Barrister Austin Manta here with us to continue from where we stopped from the part one. Probably I should give that part one of the show. Barrister, thank you very much. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, let's talk. We'll come back to this Rivers State stuff. We'll come back to that. But let's begin this segment with the judiciary issue. We read this week that Bola Tinubu, the president, is proposing to reform the judiciary. Before I give my thoughts, what is your thought on this? What is your opinion on this? What do you think the judiciary needs reform? And if they do, what is your expectation? How do you, what is your suggestion and advice on how to go about this reform? And possibly you start from the decay, what is actually going on with the judiciary? And lastly, this reform, can someone like Tinubu's government, can a government like Tinubu's government achieve this reform? These are the questions we need you to actually answer for us.
Thank you very much. The issue of judicial reform itself, if we want to do justice to it, can take several segments of this show. It's such an important and all-embracing subject that is going to be difficult to deal with it in a short time. But I will try to compress and summarize some of the things that are urgent, some of the things that are needed, and some of the things that have long been overdue. I have been in this system for close to 40 years. So I deem myself very qualified to express views on it. I've appeared in all the courts in Nigeria, from the high court, from the small court, area courts, magistrate court, high court, court of appeal, and the Supreme Court. Not just the high court in Kaduna. I've been to several states, both in the north and in the south and the southeast, southwest. I've gone around, so to speak. I've also interacted with my colleagues who are practicing. Some of my colleagues have been elevated to the bench, and those who have remained at the bar.
Hold on, sorry to cut you short. Is that an elevation? Can you?
Well, you can say if you are appointed to the bench, it's not really an elevation, it's an appointment, but a change of practice. You are practicing at the bar, you are now practicing law on the bench.
Yeah.
But if you are taken from high court to court of appeal, that's an elevation.
Yes, correct.
So we met the judiciary right from my time in the university studying law and through the law school. We met a judiciary that we aspired to be participants and actors. Right from the one, for instance, I knew I wanted to practice law. I didn't want to be a judge. I didn't want to be a lawyer in an organization, a police lawyer, or just be a legal officer somewhere. I wanted to practice law in representing people, in appearing in court, in giving legal advices, and the rest of it.
You
I
wanted
felt that
you wanted to go into the legal trenches. That is your
yes,
vision.
I
Yeah.
felt that was the best way to practice and embrace the law. And we came in at a time where the dignity of the profession, the dignity of the lawyer was so held up in high esteem that it was almost as if it was the main thing. The lawyer was supposed to be a person of integrity, a highly dignified individual whose word could be taken for granted for what it is. So we came into and made that profession by and large in that state. I cannot say it was 100%, but by and large, it was pristine. It was, the lawyers had integrity and the profession was were admired by all and sundry, even those who ran afoul of the law. Now, over time, as we began to practice the law, to interact, we began to see a deterioration of that esteem, a deterioration of that integrity, both in the actors and in the system itself. The integrity of the lawyers began to come down as more and more lawyers began to be turned out by the universities. In my time, at the time we graduated at the law school back in 1985, we were about 1,200, for instance, that we graduated. Now, lawyers are being graduated at about 40 to 50,000 per annum.
Wow. Really?
Now, the law school that produced lawyers was only one in Lagos. Today, we have so many law schools, about 6 or 7 law schools.
Really?
Yes, it
Wow.
has been decentralized, and there are law schools in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, in Kano, and
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
other places. Now, when you have this kind of decentralization, there's bound to be a drop in the quality.
Quality.
When you have this much number of lawyers being turned out every year, there's bound to be a drop in quality. There's bound to be
Hold on. Sorry to cut you short. I hope you don't forget your point. Did you say when you graduated, when you graduated from the law school in 1985, that you graduated and you were around 1,200?
200 lawyers.
And today, annually, we are recording 50-something thousand annually.
Over 40 to 50,000 lawyers.
Wow.
So it is a problem, not only in the sense of jobs that will come to the lawyers. There's now acute competition for revenue, so to speak. In a system where before, okay, let me give you an example. At the time we graduated, we already had jobs. Yeah. In the north here, once you were in the law school, you were placed on a salary grade level 8. You already had a job. And coming to look for a chambers to practice was no problem, because how many were there? It was even your choice to pick to go to the bench, to go into establishment, into the civil service, or to practice on your own. It was not a problem. But now, with the sheer number of lawyers coming out, it has become a problem. The employment is not there for many of the lawyers. The practice itself has become so convoluted that it's not easy for somebody to come in and practice with integrity and make it. So you can see from the lawyers practicing, then you come to the judges who administered the laws. When we came in, there was a lot of respect for judges. It's difficult to see a judge to go and sit in a bar, even a magistrate, to be drinking in a common bar with people, because you are not supposed to do that. You are not supposed to mingle so freely, give yourself up to people that will influence decisions in court. So this is how we met it. And then the system of appointment, even then, the shortage of materials that was available. I know that in some states, they were only waiting for a lawyer to reach 10 years in practice before he would be appointed a high court judge. Now, that system has been replaced by lobbying, by political interest, by ethnic interest, by religious interest. There were many lawyers from the south, Igbos, Yorubas, who were appointed judges in the far north because there were no personnel there. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
Now everything has been replaced by lobbying, by ethnicity, by religion, and others. All these things have come to affect the judiciary and the justice system. If you lobby to be appointed a high court judge, for instance, then you owe a debt to the people who helped you to get to that position. Not only that, the very act of lobbying is an act of a form of corruption.
Yeah.
When you lobby to get a position, it means you already are inherently corrupt. You are not going to have that integrity that is required of that office. And then you don't stop the lobbying there. You now lobby to be promoted to the next, to the appellate court and down to Supreme Court. So we have seen the decay in the judiciary from the High Court seeping into the Court of Appeal and eventually into the Supreme Court. I used to, when I started practice, I used to take judgments of some erudite justices, and we had really, really brilliant and erudite justices, particularly at the Supreme Court. You just love to read their judgment. People like Justice Oputa, you just want to read their judgment, the flow of it, the poetry, the philosophy. You love to read. These were people, intellectual giants that were in our apex courts. To a large extent, that has diminished or disappeared. Judgments now become sterile, just technical, and just like that. You will not find yourself wanting to just sit and read the judgment because you admire the prose, you admire the poetry, you admire the sophistication and philosophy that is in the judgment. We don't see much of that anymore. Then you come to the corruption index. We in the system know that there's a lot of corruption in the judiciary all the way. Now, majority of Nigerians, let's take it that 80% of Nigerians come in contact with judiciary at the lowest level. That is the magistrate courts, the area courts. And these are the most corrupt of all. So it is not without surprise that you find the opinion of Nigerians against the judiciary, because it is what you know that you can talk about. Nigerians come in contact with the judiciary at the lower levels, and those are the most corrupt of all, where by corruption and by inexperience, the law is turned upside down. So we need a reform. It is long overdue. The question is, who And what will be the direction of the reform? These questions are as important as the reform itself. Because a person who is not sincere, setting out to reform the judiciary, you know already that there will be a problem. People who just want to get political capital from a reform of the judiciary, if they go into that, the judiciary will not be reformed to the standard that we want it to be. It will not. The present government led by Tinubu has said they want to reform the judiciary. It is too early to jump into that because we want them to come out with a blueprint of how they want to reform the judiciary. Only then can we take them serious. Only then can we comment that yes, this will be well for Nigeria. As of now, we don't know the direction they want. And before you reform a system, you have to know what is wrong with the system. It's just like Buhari coming to power and saying he wants to fight corruption when he did not know anything about the corruption itself. So he ended up exacerbating the problem, increasing the corruption. Anybody that wants to reform the judiciary has to assemble honest and committed and patriotic Nigerians. Number one, let's identify the problems that have come into the judiciary. Only then can you provide solutions to it. I have my own ideas based on being a practitioner in the system for decades. I know where things go wrong in the appointments, in elevation of judges, and other things. And I have ideas of how these things can be rectified and repositioned. Whether the people that will be tasked with reforming the judiciary will have the strength and the patriotism and the focus to do what is needed is another thing altogether.
Now, you just mentioned you have your ideas of how things can be done or should be done, or how to actually reform and possibly transform the judiciary. Can you please elaborate on that? We want to hear and know your ideas.
Let me take one area, the appointment of judges. Lawyers practice in every jurisdiction in Nigeria. We know who is who among the lawyers. We know the people who have integrity. We know the corrupt lawyers, both the ones in practice and the ones in establishment. We know the corrupt ones from the magistrate courts. We even know the corrupt ones in the high court. Why should we not have a say, not perfunctory, a real say in who is appointed a judge from among us? If you come to Kaduna, where I'm based, we know ourselves. Every lawyer knows among the practicing lawyers who has integrity, who does not have. Now, if the process of appointment of judges, if I have a say, I should be able to stop an appointment of somebody I believe does not have integrity to be on the bench because of the peculiar nature of that office of a judge. Now, in theory, they normally ask the NBA for comments on judicial nominees, but do they even act on it? And this comment from the NBA is limited at the level of the executives or the MBA, probably the chairman of the branch. They will return comments. So you can see that people who have power, who have people behind them, can run roughshod over the system and get appointed into the judiciary. So the first form of appointment, the first issue in the reform, among others, should be appointment of judges. This is critical because the whole image of the judiciary rests with the administration of justice, and 70% of the administration of justice is done by the judges. In the aftermath of the 2023 election and the previous elections, the role of the courts and the judiciary has come into serious commentary, and the commentary has not been favorable. In fact, the commentary has been outright condemnation. I follow in the same way. I do not accept and do not support a judicial system whereby the most important issue, like elections and the jurisprudence or adjudication on issues of election, should be subject to 100% technicality. I have never and I will never support such a system, for the simple reason that elections are the most important aspect in a nation, because they elect the people that will rule us, we make the laws, we enforce the laws against us, we direct the economy, we direct the politics, and even affect religion and civil liberties. How can such jurisprudence, how can such adjudication of cases be subject to technicality? In Nigerian jurisprudence today, electoral jurisprudence is 100% subjected to technicalities. The slightest technicality or error will result in the dismissal of the case. Not minding the merit, not minding that the winner has won through fraud of the highest order, it does not matter. So how can such judiciary be beneficial to the country? So we have a lot of, like I told you, if we are going to talk about reform of the judiciary, it's going to take us several segments. There are a lot of aspects of it. The conditions of service of judicial personnel is nothing to write home about. And they are in a society where they see politicians, somebody who is elected into the House of Reps, overnight becomes a millionaire. Election in Nigeria is a passport to wealth and riches. Now, a judge who has been a judge for 30 years is struggling to pay his children's school fees, whereas somebody from nowhere was elected today into the House of Representatives, he has become a millionaire. How do you genuinely want that judge to maintain his integrity, not to be corrupt, not to collect bribes? It's a difficult balancing act. It's extremely difficult. We must take care, enhance to the highest level the salaries and remunerations of judicial officers. And when I mention judicial officers, I'm not limited to the judges, the workers in the court, the registrars, the court clerks, because it's all part of the system. You cannot lift some up and leave some. The problem would remain to a certain degree. So the salaries and emoluments of judicial officers is extremely poor. Do you happen to know that the Chief Justice of Nigeria earns about 800 and something thousand naira per month? How is that possible? How did we reach that nonsense? The Chief Justice of the Federation of Nigeria is earning about 800 and something thousand. What is the salary of a member of the House of Reps? Every month, by whatever means, they don't get less than 15 million naira.
Less than $1,000. That's what our chief CJN
That is what
earns.
our Chief Justice is earning, less than $1,000. A member of the House of Reps, by whatever means, goes home with about 15 million naira every month. Now you want that chief judge, you want those justices to just be there and continue to maintain the integrity. Now the same politicians are coming to offer him 500 million, 1 billion. Now, let's face it, if we want to be serious in Nigeria, there's a lot of things that the whole judiciary should be turned upside down. Let's have a reset, not a reform, a reset. Because the word reform is going to cause problems. I know when we talk about reform, how far it will go will be a problem. So let me call it a reset. Let's have a reset of the judicial system if we want it to benefit us.
Yes, the thing is, now, in my own thoughts and opinion, I don't think we can, based on going by what you just mentioned, I don't think we can reform the judiciary, because I do not see, there are so many things I don't see happening in Nigeria. When you started this your analysis of the problem that has bewildered the judicial system from inception, you mentioned religion, you mentioned ethnicity, you mentioned what other thing? Religion, ethnicity. Yeah, religion. These two things are, you mentioned several other things, but these two, I singled out these two because they are the most sensitive part of the rot in our system. Religion and ethnicity, that it is very, because reforming the judiciary, this is one of the keys or two of the keys to sincere and prudent reformation of the judiciary. If we cannot deal with this, which I think it is almost impossible, because this issue of religion and ethnicity is so enmeshed. Nigeria is so enmeshed in it, it's so deep in it. We are so it's overwhelming on us, and that is just it. I don't see us reversing course, especially with the Nigerian system, where things don't, anything that goes up don't come down or whatever. That is, the law of gravity does not apply in Nigeria. That is the unfortunate aspect of it. So as such, I do not see that happening. Reformation, okay, you call it reset. I'd rather go with your own idea of reformation, which is reset. Yes, resetting, because reformation means you really have to. You have to sit down from the foundation of the institution. What was it? And at what point did we start getting it wrong? And what is the problem? What is endemic problem right now? Then that we now figure out how to holistically take care of it. I don't see the judiciary, Nigerian judiciary, coming to that point. So the reset of a thing, the reset means, okay, let's do it on a platonic level. Let's deal with what we can deal with, a sort of, because there are things that are irreversible at this moment. If you try to reverse them, there will be everywhere will go in flames. Will go in flames. That's just the truth. So that is it. Now, another question. I asked that question. You've not answered that question, but I know, obviously, I know where you. Okay, let me not just preempt that. Do you see the government of Bola Tinubu capable of not even reformation? Reformation is to the extreme, actually, as far as based on what I just analyzed. Resetting, let's talk about your own resetting, what you just suggested, that what we need is reset. Do you see or view the government of President Bola Tinubu? Now, I call him president with why I still refer him as president is the respect I have for that institution, the presidency, the respect I have for that institution and the country itself, because there must always be someone heading the country. And that's why, otherwise, honestly, but for the respect, honestly, I do not consider that man our president. So back to my question, do you see the government of President Bola Tinubu capable of giving the judiciary a reset, or encouraging or enforcing a reset on the judiciary?
You know, I am always very reticent in outrightly saying one thing, no or yes. Like I said at the beginning, when they mentioned the reform of the judiciary, there was no template. There was nothing directional for somebody to analyze and say, look, what I see, there's a seriousness in pursuing this topic. But if I am to take them on their face value, if I am to take them on who I know them to be and how they came to be where they are, I will not have any confidence in their attempt or pronouncement that they are going to reform the judiciary, because they are, number one, beneficiaries of the system that I want to be changed, I want to be reset or reformed. They are still hoping to benefit from it going forward, for instance, in 2027. So if I take them on their face value, on who they are, who I know them to be, how they came into the presidency or into power, I will have no confidence at all that anything aggregating a serious reform of the judiciary will take place.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't see that answer coming from you. I'm not surprised, but because I didn't expect you to be actually this raw. Say it the way it is. And that is just the truth. That's the angle I'm actually coming from. That is my opinion too. But I just that people like us, we can be much more raw than what you just said, and which is just the reality. I do not see President Bola Tinubu as someone that anything good can ever come from. His government, I do not see him as someone that can any good policy, any government policy, a policy that can actually benefit the common man on the streets. I do not see him doing anything good, because, like as I always say, and I can't overemphasize this, that nothing good can come from something that is not good in the first place, or that was not good. Like the Bible says, when the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? There's nothing you can do when the foundation is faulty. When the foundation of a building is faulty, you just have to pull down that building to be able to correct the anomaly. And that is the issue. That is the situation that's the current Nigerian situation. We have a leader, a president whose foundation is faulty. His presidential foundation is faulty. So, like you said, he benefited from this corrupt legal judicial system. Tell me, why will he want to correct what he benefited from? Secondly, you mentioned, which is actually the truth, that he intends to benefit again from the same corrupt system. To be precise, come 2027. So why will he reform it? Why will he reset it? Who does that? He will not. So nothing good will ever, nothing good can ever come, because you can't give what you don't have. You can't give virtues if you don't have virtues inside of you, you can't give prudence. You can't give you can't give something when if you don't have that. You can only give what you have. Everything, the foundation of everything that has to do with Bola Tinubu's both presidency and his life is all embedded in corruption, anomaly, irregularities. So everything about him is everything about that man is abnormal, is on the negative. So unfortunately,
just remember one time we discussed the Buhari's case.
Yes.
I mentioned that, and this reform is almost like akin to fighting corruption.
Yes, sir.
Buhari was, by and large, elected on his mantra that he's coming to fight corruption. Now, I mentioned then, and in my office, I became an enemy of people. I said the man has no credential of any kind. His antecedent does not lend any credence for him to fight corruption. He does not understand the fight he's going to fight, even though he is supposed to be a soldier. And no soldier should go into war without understanding the enemy. He did not understand the corruption he was shouting about. I made mention that to fight corruption, and it also relates to the topic we're talking about, reforming the judiciary, which also translates to removing corruption and improving the judiciary and by extension, the society. To do that successfully, the leader, the president in this time must stand on a high moral pedestal. Yes, himself, his wife, his children, and his relations must stand on a very high moral pedestal.
Yeah, that is why I said you cannot give what you don't have.
Pedestal, a moral pedestal. That is, they are not under compulsion, but they already by themselves submit themselves to that high moral standard. Only then will they even be in a position to sanction any other person. If you are corrupt yourself, how can you fight corruption?
Of course you cannot.
If you came through power through a system that is deficient, how can you fight the system?
Of course not.
So this is the point. We have to get a leader that will stay up there. Morally, he will be morally upright, not morally bankrupt. All this baggage, all this confusion about your upbringing, about your name, about how you got your money, about your educational qualification, we don't need that. That creates lack of confidence in the citizens, and a leader that will solve Nigeria's problem, the kind of problems that we are that are said to be 100% problems, must be different from the average Nigerian, must be somebody from out of the Nigerian factor. We have them, not that they are not there, even though they are within Nigeria, they are such people. But as long as they do not have access to that power, we are going to continue to grope in the dark. Our problems are going to continue to multiply, not reduce. Every government that comes, you see the problems become more and more and more. So that will continue until we reach a level where the president will, as a deliberate matter of policy, be a highly moral person, highly focused, highly patriotic, and dynamic. When these factors are not there, I have absolutely no confidence that the leader is going to improve our society.
Now that leads us to the other part. Is just, I think, is similar to what we have been discussing. It leads us to the report that, you remember Bagudu, Atiku Bagudu, that Bola Tinubu, the president, appointed. And I don't know if you read the reports about FBI, what FBI said about him, and how FBI tried to actually persuade.
I do not need the FBI report on Bagudu. I'm in this country. I know when Obasanjo came and started recovering the of it, Bagudu was the one who was arranging the money for Abacha in the several accounts during Obasanjo's regime. Even here, he had an agreement that a certain component of the money should be treated. Abacha was some of Abacha's route. The government went along with him that time, and it was known then that he was one of the people laundering money for Abacha. That was, I don't need the FBI report to, but this is Nigeria. That same person who at one time was charged to court here in Nigeria emerged as the governor of a state and is now a minister in Tinubu's government.
Yeah, so that is the point. Now, this same person now, the same Tinubu, even though FBI tried to dissuade him from doing that, and probably other people in Nigeria tried to dissuade him from doing that, he still went ahead to. Now, why I brought up this point is the penchant that this man Bola Tinubu's penchant for actually bringing in corrupt people into his government. What is your opinion about that? And secondly, you add this thoughts to it too, of the issue of election, the human rights. United States actually talked about the human rights violations and all the election that was marred with irregularities here and there. A sort of so what is your thought on that?
Well, of Tinubu is that it's not integrity, it's political.
Barrister, hold on. I think your line is breaking. So probably let's see, maybe the network will be fine by the time I'm done. Let me just why your line, because you are making a very important point, but I don't know why not the line actually, the audio is breaking. That's just the not line. I think the line is, the network is fine. It's just the audio is breaking. I don't know why the audio is breaking, but let me make this point while we are probably, I don't know if there's a way anything you need to adjust there to make sure that the audio is straight. Yes, you see, the one thing about this thing, like I said earlier, Bola Tinubu's government, that man can never do anything right. And that is why you have all these corrupt people all around him. Sort of. So Atiku Bagudu is not a surprise to me, because you can only give what you have. You can't give what you don't have. So what Bola Tinubu has, everything about him is all immersed in corruption. And so everything, typically whatever will come from him, it's the same thing. He is of corruption, is of corruption, and and he gives out, obviously he will eventually he will continue to dish out corruption and corrupt people around him. That is just it. Now on the US, whatever, I don't know why US, honestly, US is just you see, US, they are I don't know if I can consider them as the worst of the hypocrites, global hypocrites. I'm telling you, they are. I think that's the right word. They are hypocritical in everything they do. Now, this same US, first, they dissuaded, they are the ones who tried to dissuade Bola Tinubu from appointing corrupt people and whatever. The same US, are they not the ones who eventually who eventually are supporting the endorsed the presidency of Tinubu. The same US are talking about noting out how the 2023 presidential election was marred with irregularities or yes, irregularities. The same US. I don't know why these people they always speak with both sides of their mouth. You are condemning the process that brought up brought Tinubu to power, while at the same time you endorsed and as you supported him and you are still supporting him. That is shooting from all cylinders of your mouth, from both cylinders of your mouth, which is very, very, very typical of the US. They are so hypocritical, so self-righteous, and even sometimes, and even more as even right with what even compared to what the US is today, their judicial system, especially, that is so political in every facet of it. It is just not, or it's not. I don't know how they can actually speak without shame, advise people. You don't have the moral. US does not have the moral ground, moral standing to advise, to suggest, to do anything to anyone, any country. And that is just it. Bola Tinubu's case, again, he can never, that man, nothing good can ever come from it. I don't know if your speaker is, sorry, your microphone is fine now. Barrister, please, can you continue with your thoughts? We hope that your mic is okay now.
About the US, it is well.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The only thing that matters to them is their interest. And any government that takes crisis seriously does not know what it's doing. Cast your mind back and see that the US government fought tooth and nail. They did everything to.
Sorry, viewers. I think we are having some network challenge from Barrister Manta's end. His volume, his microphone is breaking. I think I don't think it's I think his network anyway. So unfortunately, we are going to be ending this show on abruptly and maybe move it to next week. But I hope we made I think we made some points. I hope that you took those points and based on what Barrister Manta suggested and advised on how the judiciary can be transformed or reformed or reset. Unfortunately, we don't see anything of such taking place under, just like I noted earlier, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And nothing good can ever come from. I am not, again, don't come bashing me. I am not, I'm not an antagonist of the president on personal ground. Now, I want, for you, some of you who have been criticizing me or coming after me for saying whatever I say, I don't hate the man as a person. For some people, few people who know me, I am a very objective person by nature. When I'm coming at someone and when I'm going at someone, I do that out for principle purpose, for objective purpose, not for anything. The day the person changes and turns a new leaf, honestly, the same energy, I'll channel the same energy into loving and commending that person. That's the way I live my life. That means that I don't really hate people when they are doing wrong things. I don't hate evil people. What I hate with passion, what I detest in especially leaders or leadership, is the vices they exhibit. Either they have exhibited and continue to exhibit and fail to repent of it. Those are the things I target. That is what I target in people. What I hate, what I criticize are not personalities. I criticize vices, in personalities. And that is just it. And that is why if you hate someone, let me tell you the difference between what I am doing with just hating someone. When you hate someone, whatever the person does, whether good or bad, you keep hating that. You will always, even if the person does anything good, you will have a reason to criticize that person. You will always puncture whatever good. You will always pick holes in whatever good that person tries to do. That is not who I am. That's not my own way of life. That's not my philosophy of human being. That is not what I think of. I don't hate people like that. And specifically, I don't hate President Bola Tinubu as a person. I hate all that he has done to get to where he is today, all through his life. I hate the vices. Everything bad that he has done. Yes, someone will say, what about me? Yes, I am not perfect, but I am not a leader. I am not the leader. I am not perfect. I am not the leader. Or neither am I a leader in the country. Not the leader of the country, neither am I a leader in the country. So don't come at me with that morality stuff. So as a leader, just like Barrister Austin Manta pointed earlier, if you are heading, if you are a leader, you must come to justice with equity. You must come out with clean hands. You have to have that moral standing, that moral decorum, that moral orderliness, that moral aura around you. And you should expect criticism as well as a leader. So that is just it. Yes, I'm a human being. I am not perfect, but I am not a leader. I am not the leader of the country. So our focus is on Bola Tinubu, and that is just it. I don't hate him as a person. I hate his antecedents. And I hate his current dispositions, what he is doing. He is killing this country even further. He's just taking cue from where Buhari stopped. Now he is plunging it further, deeper into abyss. Deeper, the country, everything is just ruining the entire system. Unfortunately. I wish he can be honorable enough to resign. Honestly, if he does that, he will earn my respect forever. And that will portend an evidence of repentance. Because you cannot repent and still continue to be where you are, even though how you got there, you got there through corrupt means. So repentance means resigning. And possibly, and you will ask, what happens? Hand over to Shetima. Shetima, I don't know if I'll call that guy the worst devil. I don't know who is even worse between the both of them. Who is worse than the other? Because Shetima has a history of sponsoring terrorism as well. So then you ask who takes over from whatever. In my own layman's opinion, call for another election. That's just it. Just call for another election for new stuff to just emerge. That's just it. So please don't come at me. Don't come bashing me. I don't hate Bola Tinubu as a person. I just don't like what he has, his antecedents and what he's dispensing to the Nigerian nation. Honestly, Nigeria is just going down the drain, getting worse and worse by the day. Things are getting worse. Look at the dollar right now. The dollar initially I told someone, I don't know if did I mention it on this platform with you, Barrister Manta? I think I said that. I said this is just temporary because there is nothing tangible on the ground to actually make this naira appreciation stable or consistent. I knew that it's just for a temporary nagra. I said it earlier that it's just temporary. Trust Nigeria. The system is still there. It has not been changed. Here we are today. We talked about this. Was it last week or last 2 weeks? there we are. The Naira have started depreciating again. They have started depreciating again. So, and it's rising again. Rising, consistently rising. Throughout this week, it's been consistent in rising. And no one knows where it will get to, unfortunately. So that is just it. Barrister Manta, we're so sorry for viewers that actually we had a lot to hear from Barrister Manta, but his microphone, I don't know if his network, either my network or microphone is breaking, so we are not getting the points from him. We'll probably be talking about this topic next week again, because there are some other things we have not finished talking about. However, Barrister Manta, thank you so very, very, very much. Sorry for the inconvenience and how things went without beyond our actually what we planned and what we expected. Once again, we thank you for availing yourself the time to be here. We feel honored whenever you come onto our platform. Viewers, we have been having conversation with Barrister Austin Manta. He's the principal partner of AA Manta and Co., a legal, I refer to him as a legal icon. He might not be that person that people know nationally, but when I have my own way of assessing people, referring to people as icons. There's so many people out there, public, they call them son or whatever. So many out there that when I listen to them speak, I just shake my head. I say, what is in this guy's head that makes him this popular? I don't even or got him to where he is or whatever. But sometimes there are some things we cannot question God for, and he is the only one who knows why certain things happen. Once again, Barrister Manta, thank you so much for your time. And
thank you once again.
Yeah, viewers, thank you for being with us. My name is Jibrin, and this is Jibrin Angle. We are coming to you live on Oweleke TV. I urge you to subscribe to our Oweleke TV channel and follow us and on all our other social media platforms, and put on your notification bell so that whenever we upload contents like this, you will be notified. Thank you so much, and thank you for your support. Remain blessed.